Hopefully this one loads quickly so you guys will see it. I sat and watched the news. They talked about the Blue Origin thing about 2 miles east of El Paso. When you put up space missions, we've talked about this before, as far as putting up satellites, things like this. Technology, when you make it and when you put it's going to work off mathematics, okay? And if you're programming the technology and you're putting into the technology to protect the planet and the humans from bad human activities. Or, now, the you're not going to need to put send missions into space, to get you to know that you're doing things excessively and compulsively, and you're hurting the planet. You're hurting the atmosphere. You're hurting things and stuff. Once you have the satellites in place, right? And so you use the satellites to correctly. You take down. It's gonna be hard, as far as taking down and bringing down satellites that are not essential, and it's gonna be wow. The way technology works, you're doing it off of mathematics. Okay, so you have to validate what you're doing. It has to be valid, and of course, economics is not valid. Inventing laws based on mathematics, which is genocidal and self-destructive, is not valid. So, as we're moving forward into this, they talk about singularity like 400 years from now and stuff like that, and that just doesn't seem to be so. Doesn't seem to be so. If you have technology and if it has gone from super to quantum, the technology, you plug it into the planet. It's you mathematically base it off of natural laws through eternal existence through one another to sustain ourselves through the natural laws given. Um, you're not going to need to argue the point about infinite glory, anything like that. You're going to have to apply the physics of the Lord's Prayer. You're going to have to be more Proverbs driven. Care, share, give, and score, and you built to last. This genocidal ethnic cleansing stuff that you guys are doing through elitism, through brain activity. The main cause of people's bad brain activity is you, the ones killing the people that you think you're cleaning up and killing the right people according to you, which you're the one not obeying the laws. You're the one inventing the technology to solve your problems, to fix the problems, to fix the bad people. You have these little girls dancing in the Miss El Paso contests and stuff, and they don't need to get dressed up and go in these cars and go dance and sing for contests to go across the world and across the country for money because it's not right, it's wrong. And so what we need to give these people and these young ladies is the truth of the Lord's Prayer. The the faith and love of Psalms, the wisdom to sustain that faith and love of Proverbs. The perfection of the Lord's Prayer. That's what's going to save people from these bad actors in science. We already have bad actors with artificial general intelligence, and artificial intelligence is the reason we have artificial general intelligence is because of bad actors. We wouldn't have artificial intelligence if we didn't have bad actors. We would be using technology to communicate globally and share the perfection and the beauty of the Lord's Prayer. Okay, we're not doing that, so they had to invent artificial general intelligence to try to outmaneuver each other because it's a contest. It's this stuff it is genocidal. That's why I dropped out of college in 1999, was because the economics was genocidal. So I didn't express, they were studying me, but I felt it. I didn't say it out loud. I just walked away and hoped for something better in the future. I didn't sit down and verbalize it. I just looked at my situation and thought, I'm going to find a woman to help raise Patrick and to love because I enjoy being with women. It'd be nice to have siblings for Patrick. It'd be nice to get, to Flagstaff or someplace where there's less pollution and off the grid, and then hope that these people would change. And in the meantime, do the best. And my thing was always just I wanted to go to my little corner of the world and do the best I could with the people in my little corner of the world to get them to see and teach them to be as good as they could be without being hunted down and murdered by sociopaths. But I didn't think the people that were, quote, in charge were sociopaths and psychotic and broken until I ended up in Sierra Vista and they started coming and questioning me and then explaining to me, which I already knew, who I was and you're so great, prove it. And it's like, I ain't trying to, okay. And the other thing was, I had the stuff, the last week or so with the stuff with the Supreme Court stuff and all these rulings and stuff. You can't have an opinion. Laws are not based off of opinion. Laws are actual and factual and natural. And then you have to act in accordance to those understandings there's the Supreme Court is not real. It's just a bunch of human beings being seduced by their ego and then writing things down on a piece of paper. I told you that prayer connection I had with Ruth Gator Ginsburg was horrible. That woman was mad at me. She was upset at me. Okay, she was like that crazy fucker at Fry's in Sierra Vista. You're an idealist and you get people killed. I'm like, you were one to but that's you got to understand that it gets that way with people. When people have a psychotic break and a psychotic episode, they tell you, okay, that you're the problem and everything would be okay if you just fall in line and calm them, make them feel great, and make them understand how great they were and constantly reassure them, keep doing what you're doing, you're great. And it's like, you're not, okay? You're in a psychotic episode, you've had a psychotic break, now stop, okay? But I'm going to go, guys. I hope this one loads rapidly because I want to go to bed and I'm tired. But we'll try to talk tomorrow. I can't promise you when we'll be able to talk and how we'll be able to talk and whatever because, where I'm at and what's going on. But I can promise you this, that I do love you and I'm not selfish and that I'm faithful and I'll keep trying and keep helping and focusing. I will not waver from the Lord's Prayer. I'll focus on that. This is very hard. The physical and the mental and emotional abuse they put me through, they put most of you through it too. But mine is, I can guarantee you, mine is more intense, more abusive and worse than probably anybody else's. Okay. Well, I love you very much. All right. Peace. And a lot of you may not think that. Doesn't matter what you think. You haven't stood for a Lord's Prayer a day in your life. And you're angry and you're vicious and you're selfish and you think the world revolves around you. And so you're the cause of most of your pain and your suffering and your abuse. I just stood up for Lord's Prayer so we could all, help the world be a better place by being humble, kind, and faithful and loving. So I love you. All right. Peace out, man. We'll talk later.